This video was going to be about 10 minutes. It turned into 20 minutes of me ranting about the entertainment industry. Leave a like on the video and subscribe if you feel the same way. All right, I've been trying to ignore this for a while. I have. Every time a new controversy pops up, every time a new franchise I grew up with drops something that feels weirdly sterile, I'll tell myself that it's just the usual cycle. Games have always evolved. Studios have always made bad calls. Adaptations have always missed the mark. I gaslight myself, but this doesn't feel like random misses anymore. It feels coordinated. Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but everything from games, movies, YouTube, Discord, it's all being pushed through the same corporate filters all at the same time. And what comes out the other side is usually polished, expensive, safe, but somehow so fucking hollow. And for years, I've avoided getting into political angles on this channel because the second you say anything remotely adjacent in that space, people stop listening because they want to start picking teams. Are you talking about things that are pervy to my side or theirs? Are you an enemy? You lose the fucking nuance and it's exhausting. I don't want to be a political YouTuber, but I want to talk about games. But it's so tough to do so nowadays because when the systems that are shaping the game start getting political by default, pretending that that layer doesn't exist just feels dishonest. So I want to say it plainly, gaming feels different now. And the reason it feels different isn't nostalgia. It actually is something a lot more nefarious than that. It's total displacement. Look at what's happened to major franchises over the last decade. Star Wars doesn't feel mythic anymore. It feels curated. It feels like every character is aware of modern discourse in the real world hovering over them. The edges are sanded down, and any sort of conflict or friction just feels pre-packaged. The Halo TV adaptation, I always go back to it. It stripped away the mystery that defined that universe. The quiet, stoic tone that made Master Chief feel iconic got replaced with exposition and emotional unpacking that felt more like contemporary drama than actually sticking to the source material. The Lord of the Rings TV or Prime adaptation compressed something timeless into something very, very current and modern. And the conversation around all of this immediately turns radioactive. You say anything and someone tries to shove you into a political corner. If you're a fucking troll chud that just hates Lord of the Rings, they call you MAGA or conservative. It's fucking tiring. But here's the thing. The issue to me isn't representation. These worlds were never monocultures. The issue is the intent that is bleeding through the art. And you can feel when a story exists because someone wants you to explore. And you can also feel that a story exists when somebody has something to signal to you. And that difference is subtle until it isn't. And I think that subtlety is just completely going away. Longtime fans, they feel that rage, but they also feel like they're guests in something that used to feel like home. The architecture is familiar, the atmosphere is completely different, and that same shift shows up in gaming itself. I keep talking about friction. Friction is disappearing in modern game design. Systems are completely streamlined. Social interaction is either removed or it's completely automated to the point where you don't even really feel like you need to do it. Progression is completely optimized. Everything moves faster. Everything feels smoother. Smooth sounds good, but smooth also doesn't really stick for me sometimes. The inconvenience used to be a memory. The tension in the choices that you made as a gamer used to create the stories. The grind used to create the attachment. Yeah, a quick example of grind not feeling rewarding is Battlefield 6 and their weapon progression that people have been complaining about since launch. They created a grind, and usually, for me, grinds are nice, as long as they're rewarding. And Battlefield 6 made a set of tasks that you have to continually do every day with their challenge system, but then they opted to make it not fun or enjoyable or even feel rewarding in the slightest. And that's why I think for the last decade or so, I haven't felt really attached or there's nowhere to really hang my head as a gamer. Because when that texture gets flattened across the industry, all at the same time, people start to feel like something essential is missing in the conversation. And when you zoom out, it all starts to make sense. Every major studio and platform is operating under the same pressures now because gaming has become so massive. You have to now focus on global markets, shareholder expectations, advertiser sensitivity, regulatory scrutiny from governments, internal compliance teams whose literal job is to make sure nothing explodes on social media so your numbers keep going up. And then when you scale big enough, that unpredictability becomes very expensive when things get out of hand. So you want to minimize that unpredictability. So your stories that you're telling in media get safer. Your design for your app or your program or your platform gets broader. The messaging is very, very clear, and the edges get trimmed, and there's nothing left. YouTube is following that same arc right now. Look at this screen. This is YouTube back in 2017. And there was a time where you could fall down a rabbit hole and discover some completely unhinged 12K sub channel at 2 a.m. because the homepage wasn't aggressively steering you into approved lanes. Now it's just curated where shorts dominate your vision. Established channels are already reinforced on the homepage, and you have AI tools that summarize the content before you even click it. Discovery is narrow, and the creators feel it, small channels feel it, viewers are feeling it. I've been seeing more and more conversations where people are saying like, YouTube is different now. Discord went from feeling like digital infrastructure for communities to feeling like compliance software wrapped around a piece of fucking spyware. Identity verification systems are coming to Discord, age inference using AI tools, defaulting restrictions that assume liability before they could even consider trusting the user. And so not only is our online life being driven by fucking AI algorithms, we now have governmental regulatory fucking boards breathing down our neck and putting enforcements in place on the community apps that we want to use to just fucking talk to one another. I'm still in the mindset of like 2016, 2017. Let's get together. Let's have a community. Let's build this up. But how the fuck can I sit here and promote a Discord when they're then going to turn around and limit your access to certain features if you don't succumb to giving them your ID or your face scan? And how do I talk about this as a gaming YouTuber without getting into the political aspects of why this is happening? It's fucking nuts. There's a bunch of internet censorship bills being pushed through Canadian Parliament right now as I record this video. They've been trying to crack down on our freedom of speech for so many years, and you want to talk about this stuff, but you run the risk of actually being suppressed online. We've seen it in the past. The political sphere is now starting to influence every aspect of our daily lives, including entertainment. All while we're watching the entertainment sphere itself have its own set of issues and its own bubbling set of problems, and we're literally heading towards running off of a fucking cliff, Thelma and Louise style. I genuinely feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Moving back to gaming, you look at something like Concord, huge budget, backed by Sony, years of development, clean presentation, very inclusive marketing, built to reach as many people as possible. And then it didn't. People didn't care, not in a rage way, but in an indifferent way. They just didn't give a shit. And that's worse because indifference means there is nothing to grab onto there. When a game is designed to offend no one and resonate with everyone, it often ends up resonating deeply with nobody. Highguard and similar projects chase the same wide net strategy. Safe tone, broad messaging, light friction. Players can feel nowadays more than ever when something exists and was created because a committee saw a market opportunity. And we were all called crazy when we called it out for Highguard 5 seconds into the trailer. Then it comes out the developers later were definitely banking on that game being very successful financially so they could break the golden chains and leave that corporate world that they so desperately wanted to leave while taking 10-cent money. Fucking idiots. Consumers can also feel when something exists because someone else couldn't make it, right? Arc Raiders exists because nobody else could fucking make that game. Embark exists because they actually broke free of the chains of that corporate fucking conglomerate of EA, and now they're one of, if not the biggest studio making actual passion projects that are finding success because they know what their market actually is. Now, that instinctive detection that these gamers and consumers are doing nowadays is brand new, and the market has to shift. 10 years ago, marketing language worked so much more effectively, but now gamers are hip to it, and I couldn't be more happy to see, and I hate being like this, don't take this the wrong way. I like seeing more and more people angry and talking about it in videos and comment sections and Reddit, because that means that people are starting to open up their fucking eyes to what I've been saying for the last decade. And that's the part that doesn't get enough attention. And mainstream media hates it. The audience is no longer asleep. Gamers are way smarter than they were a decade ago. They understand live service traps. They understand engagement loops that are meant to keep them there as long as possible. They understand when mechanics are completely flattened to widen appeal. And they understand when a game feels engineered instead of lived in. And what we've noticed is they've quietly been shifting their time. A new report is coming out and making headlines everywhere from Apillion, who is a gaming industry advisory company headed by venture capitalists. That's who I want advising the gaming industry for sure. But they published a 164-page report publishing data about gaming, indicating that the medium is actually losing the war for people's attention to other ventures, including gambling, crypto, and porn. You dirty fucking gooners. Speaking of gooners, starting on February 20th to February 27th, a week-long sale on gamersubs.gg. Use code BigFry. You get 20% off site-wide. It's a sugar-free alternative to energy drinks. Use code BigFry, 20% off your order at gamersubs.gg. Make some better choices this year. Get off the sugar rush. Trust me, I'm a fatty as well. I get it. We all got to do better this year. So in this report, they say in the US, 2.5 to 4% worth of players stopped playing video games since the pandemic, so post-pandemic. The Canadian Trade Association found in its latest report that roughly 1 in 6 players prior to the pandemic have stopped playing games. Why do you guys think that is? In the US, PC and console spend is down 8% since 2020 and 2021, which comes to roughly about $2.3 billion. Why do you guys think that is? I'm going to give you guys 2 reasons why I think that is. First, because gaming is moving in a way where only a few games that are coming out every year are even worth a shit at this point. There is so much slop. There is so much broken. There's just so much. We're inundated with trash all of the time, and we have to weed through all the bullshit to find the gems. Number 2, which is where that political angle comes in that I don't like touching, nobody can fucking afford to buy games the way they fucking used to. You know why? Because the world is going to hell in a handbasket, and most people are probably picking up multiple fucking jobs to be able to pay their bills. They can't even think about extracurricular money that they're spending on games and everything else. People are fucking struggling. And when you hear that they're looking into crypto, gambling, and porn, it's because they need vices that got to take them away from their fucking day-to-day, and gaming isn't giving it to them anymore. So not only do we have a market that is spending less in the gaming industry, we also have gamers that are seemingly way more fatigued with the bullshit that we keep getting given year in and year out. I'm not saying every game is fucking bad. I'm saying the ones that are meant to be live service, long-term titles, they're either trash live service like Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 can be a great game, but it doesn't know how to serve its content post-launch. Or we have games that are literally being designed by committee that appeal to absolutely nobody time and time again. Concord spending $400 million, Tencent secretly funding Highguard to the tune of what, $100 million, $80 million, $150 million? Nobody even fucking knows. But we have all these games that are being designed to cast the widest net possible and then appeal to absolutely nobody. Guys, as I'm recording this video, Blue Point Games was just shut down by Sony. Keep in mind, this is the studio that remastered Shadow of the Colossus and Demon's Souls, both commercial successes in their space. They were shut down. Did you know last year Sony had them working on a live service God of War title? Who the fuck greenlit that? Who the fuck would want God of War to be diluted into a live service slop fest that we keep getting in this industry? Who greenlit that? The same person that greenlit Horizon Hunter's Gathering? What a name that is. What a fucking game that is. And that's going to be Guerrilla's legacy in 2026? Now, I've been playing a lot of Burning Crusade Classic. It's the reason why I keep talking about the word friction. It blew up for me again because it reintroduced friction into my gaming time, where reputation matters, time investment matters, and actual social interactions are at the forefront of the game. I've been playing the game for, I think I got about 50 hours in the last 2 weeks. It's been a great time. I'm killing mobs, I'm doing quests, players are running by, we're grouping up, we're going into caves, we're exploring, and we're playing a game that friction is at the forefront of. It's not streamlined. I don't have to go into a dungeon finder, go into a group, and just sit in Stormwind the whole time. It's a game about exploration. It's an actual MMO, which on the heels of Ashes of Creation completely fucking imploding is something that I've been looking for a long time. And Burning Crusade Classic just shows me just how different gaming has become. Smaller studios right now are thriving when they commit to a niche instead of chasing absolutely everybody imaginable. Retro shooters that lean into difficulty. You have indie RPGs that actually embrace consequence. Horror games that aren't afraid to make you uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is the worst thing imaginable to AAA studios. The hyper-optimized corporate era assumed that scale guarantees player attachment, and it doesn't. And when engagement drops, the investors start to notice, and then when retention curves start to flatten, studios then reassess. And I'll be honest, guys, the entire industry has blown up way higher than it needs to be in terms of bloated dev teams, in terms of bloated development budgets. And the reason why everybody is seemingly having to cast a wide net is because these development projects have ballooned to hundreds of millions of dollars at a time. It is absolutely unsustainable. Layoffs are happening at Ubisoft now. I believe 70 employees are being laid off from Ubisoft Toronto. That's the development team behind the new Splinter Cell remake that we, again, for so many years haven't heard fucking jack shit on. I'm of the opinion now that I think the entire industry has to implode. When I read that Ubisoft has 17,000 employees, and I think EA is sitting at around 15,000, and the output that we're getting from these studios and the ballooning budgets, like when you look at Highguard, you know, they claimed themselves to be self-funded, independent, while they're secretly being bankrolled by Tencent to most likely, and I'm throwing this number out there because they had, what, 200 employees. They had to have had like a bankroll of like $100 to $150 million. And that game blew up in a night. The game is fucking dead. The industry needs to implode. And the thing is it's crazy because I'm part of it too. And I don't want developers to lose their jobs. But it's clear. You open up social media nowadays and it's one fucking layoff studio after another. Dude, 10 Chambers just had to fucking restructure. They laid off developers as well as some of the co-founders, and Den of Wolves isn't even out yet. It is clear, if you have a set of working eyes and a pair of working ears, that the current trajectory of the gaming industry is going at an unsustainable rate, and we are hitting that at fucking Mach 5, dude. And we've been having a lot of conversations about it on the live streams, and I've been saying this industry needs to fucking implode, and there needs to, and this isn't advocating for job loss. This is more of coming from an angle of, if this doesn't happen, everything is going to get massively worse. And when you combine that with inflation and what is going on in the current global political climate, holy fucking shit. Things are crazy right now because a lot of major institutions optimize themselves into sterile territory all at the same time. And that won't last forever. Optimization eventually hits a ceiling. Audiences are already starting to get bored. Creators, you know, talk about YouTube and Twitch and all of these different fucking major companies. Creators are starting to diversify and figure out different revenue streams because everything is unsustainable. Smaller studios are able to take more risks because they're working with less capital, they're working with less bloat, they're running a lean organization. Obviously, some studios don't. But the smaller studios are able to take the risks and play in that niche, and that's where it needs to go. And one thing I will say is after the whole Highguard situation, and I've been feeling a lot of different emotions watching the online conversations. I care about this shit so much. What I don't want to see is modern mainstream gaming journalists gaslight you, the consumer, into not screaming at them. That's how you change the system. You scream and you move elsewhere. And I think right now we are in a moment where people are starting to do that. Keep speaking, keep supporting the games that you want to see be alive and thrive, and keep pushing back when something feels engineered instead of inspired. The pendulum will not swing overnight, but it is moving in our direction, and it has been for quite some time, and it's so good to finally talk about it. It's such a negative coded video, but at the same time, I see so much hope in the fact that people are starting to push back. And it sucks because I don't want to sit here and be happy that people are upset. I'm not. I want people to be happy playing games, but in order to enact change, you have to be pushed to a fucking limit. And I think we're almost there. And then, you know, I say that, and then we look at the horizon, and I just see this fucking tidal wave that is AI slop vibe-coded games hitting Steam at Mach 10 speed. And that's going to be the next fight. As always, my name is Big Fry. I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys want more conversations like this, head over to patreon.com/BigFry. There's a lot of exclusive stuff over there for our paid patrons, but you can also become a free member there and get access to like audio blogs and stuff that I just post for my community over there. So get connected. There's a lot of these conversations I want to have. I'm probably going to have a follow-up to this video over there in the next couple of days because I want to explore some of these topics a little bit more in depth. I want to kind of get into the political side of things and why I think some ideologies are starting to be pushed in the space. But I find like once you start talking about that on these public fucking platforms, you start to hear about suppression and shit like that. And I find a lot of people just don't have the capacity to have real conversations in the comments. They start taking sides, and then any sort of nuance just kind of gets lost. But I want to explore those kind of topics in a place where we don't have to worry about algorithms. We don't have to worry about AI tools getting involved, and we can just have real fucking conversations. If you made it this far into the video, I appreciate you staying here for the whole thing. Use the keyword classic in your comment. I haven't done one of these in a long time. That lets me know you guys made it to the end of the video. I appreciate you guys watching. As always, my name is Big Fry. Shout out to the Fry Nation, and I'll see you on the next one.